$700 million in business. How much of that is crypto versus just traditional what you've done in your gaming company or your computer, PC laptops company?
So that excludes real estate transactions and crypto.
Okay.
That's just business, running business.
That's just running business. So
Yes.
you're coming up on $1 billion just in transacting business. That's an impressive number.
Yes.
When you add in something like real estate, it almost feels a little bit like you're cheating because it's like, well, real estate's a big asset, right? I bought this, $200,000 thing and this $2 million thing and this $40 million thing, and you add them up, and it adds up quite a bit.
Real estate to me is like what I call old guy money, and I'm 52 now. So, when I'm retired and really old or something like that, it's nice because, with property managers managing all the properties and stuff, and you have our CFO and different things, it's pretty easy cash flow once you've built the base,
Yeah.
It's just like free money,
Yeah. I don't know if it was a year ago or a year and a half ago, I went to one of your cars and coin. It was up in like Park City, this was up kind of in that way. And you were up at this hotel, and everyone was bringing in their Lambos and their fun exotics. And I brought in my 6x6 Jeep with Hellcat engine with a 50 caliber gun mounted to the top of it.
It's a beast.
Totally, and really fun, but not really an exotic car. Just kind of a war car. So much fun to shoot that thing too. Inspired by Halo, like just love everything about driving and shooting like that is really kind of fun for me. But you got into exotic cars a little bit ago, and you connected it to this whole crypto kind of space, and you've put on some really cool events. You actually did one here at my
Yeah, your place was right.
So kind of curious, where does the exotic car excitement come from for you?
Really, people sometimes hate on it, but my daily drivers I like are Tesla Plaids. I own 2 of them. Ordered a Cybertruck and stuff like that. That's good daily commute stuff, because it's great. I look at Lambos and McLarens and all that, kind of like high heels or G-strings. That's kind of inappropriate, but it's only for special occasion, man.
Yeah.
And they're really eye candy and flashy and things like that. And it's just the younger generation really likes those things. It's for social media and for events. At the end of the day, one of our events, I said, hey, raise your hand if you're a billionaire here. And there were 6 guys that raised at our event. And we said, what do you drive? And one of them was like, 6-year-old F-150, 5-year-old Tesla. And I joked that most of the old gray-haired billionaires looking for the chicken wings at the event, they're not really into the card thing. They're into
most
legacy.
of them seem to be truck drivers.
F-150,
I don't know why,
F-250,
but yes.
Super Duty, something, and very boring. Their truck's like white.
Yeah.
Which is great. A lot of the guys that are in that, million to a couple $100 million range love the crazy stuff because you're young and you want the fun stuff, Yeah. So I think it's like an outfit. There's room for all. But the nice thing in the car game is if you buy right on rarity, you're gonna drive most of your cars for free, and with tax implications and stuff, you're gonna do pretty good.
Curious where you're at in the real estate game right now, because
Yes.
you've invested in so many different spaces. What are you hot on right now?
I really, really, really like industrial flex. A lot of my old mentors have billions.
Yeah, break that down. Industrial flex. What do you mean?
So you're talking like a big empty type of Walmart type of situation where you divide it up and you lease it to different companies that have small businesses, or better yet, publicly traded companies.
That reminds me a little bit of your office.
Yeah.
Except I don't even know if you're even leasing any of it out.
We have a plasma processor there.
Okay, but I'm just saying, it's like one big monster building.
Box, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the reason is if you can get tenants that sign a nice 10-year lease with 10-year renewal with escalations every year, your cap rates are good. And managing a tenant that's paying you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $70,000 a month is actually less agony than having someone pay you $2,000 a month in rent.
Yeah. So you like the scale of it.
Yeah, because those big companies, evicting someone out of a house that has a dog and a family is very saddening and hard versus a big commercial building with a lease, and they just ACH you the money every month. It's just no work.
It's professional.
But it takes a lot more money to do that kind of scale, though. So that's why it's hard for people to get into that level. But like I got into it first with like house hacking with a little duplex, when I was like 19 and built from there. Kind of like you, it's like you start there and then you move into bigger projects.
Yeah. I never really moved into bigger projects.
No?
I like my ROI on my single family stuff too much. When I move on to the bigger projects, I haven't been able to scale my ROI as cleanly or as homogeneously as I'd like. And, you know, I don't know if it's a strength or a weakness, but just
It's a strength if you're the best in your niche, which you're phenomenal, right? So, again, I have a friend who makes porta potties, you know, for concerts.
Yeah.
And he ran it for 5 years. He sold it for $300 million in cash.
Jeez, that's a
and
lot.
He says, I make crappers and I made $300 million.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. As
But
long
it
as
was
you're
his
great.
space. It was his space that he operated in that he was mastering.